All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. And we kind of talked about some of our passions, why we started our business, what skill sets we have, what things we honed. Now I just want to talk a little bit for the viewers out there. What are the pieces that you need to start a business? Like, Lamar, what did you do to start Dreams? Like, how did you start your business?
That's the question. First of all, there's different suggestions I would say to do prior to starting a business, and definitely doing your research. So I always had an idea of wanting to own a reader's rights, and since I have a background in actual health inspecting, you get a chance to not only inspect a particular business or facility, you actually get in a conversation and engage with people. So a lot of people, I'm asking them questions, interviewing them, but they're not knowing I'm interviewing them.
Sure.
They're thinking I'm just doing my career, like, you know what's going on, So one of the best advices that I got was from a gentleman up in Lansdale who owned a Readers, and I remember it was like 90 degrees the day before, and I was like, man, you guys must have been really busy, you know what I mean, the fact that it's 90 degrees, and he's like, no, actually, we're not busy. I'm like, what? I'm 90 degrees? He's like, yeah, because when it's 90 degrees, when you're dealing with a ice cream or water ice cream, you go inside. Yeah. They're gonna wait until the sun goes down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So that was a great piece of advice because it happened with me. I'm like, damn, where the people at? You know what I mean? Like, oh, nice hot. You know what I mean? I don't get, but then it didn't make me go crazy.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? And I had to explain that to my staff. And I said, hey, listen, when the sun goes down, people are gonna eat dinner. Yes. Then they're gonna come out, walk the dog, or just take a walk out of their house because they're tired of being inside of the air conditioned place, whether they're at work or whether they be at. So it's like, oh, I get it. So definitely doing your market research, doing your research, as far as the demographics and the people and the families that you're dealing with. That should be like number one. Yeah. And far as doing your research, and then also too, once you that'll help you create a marketing plan, a business plan for what you want to do to gain your customers. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't do that. I mean, I had an idea. Yeah, I mean, I see, that's honest. It was real. And I guess initially because we were familiar with the Glenside area because we didn't live that far from there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
We always go to Denver to get sneakers stores and sneakers and stuff. But again, I had a front row seat because of my career. I was in these areas working, so I knew
you were
already. You know what I mean?
Essentially an adjacent business.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So like on that, and so pretty much from there, I obviously was like, listen, okay, now I'm understanding these aspects of business now. Let's talk about the paperwork. Let's talk about what we need to do.
Sure.
Let's get the LLC. Let's create that. Let's get our EIN numbers. If some of y'all don't know what your EIN number, that's your social security number for your business. So you want to create that, and then from those particular areas, you gotta have to talk about licensing. Already know about licensing. We're dealing with business license, and whether it's locally for for the township of Cheltenham, whether it's you want to have one for a city in Philly or statewide. So you got to look at those aspects and look at the costs and parameters of that. Then you want to also look at your product and far as your product development. Where do I get the supply from? If am I going to make the ice cream? I'm not going to make the ice cream. If I get it from a supplier, who I'm going to use? Hershey's. Just different things you have to put into alignment to really see what's going on. And I think my background for being a health inspector helped me really come up with choices, because it's like I went to this one guy and he was in he has a spot off of we just sold it. Used to be I want to say Carlitos, but I don't think it's Carlitos. But I forget what it used to be called. But he really put me on. I was just walking around in the shop, doing some regular inspection. I'm like, what's this? Oh, boom. I use them for my water ice. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because normally traditional water ice company that's being used is iRice, which is a local company up there by Nabisco, up the Boulevard. Yeah. And that's what Readers use. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So they do use iRice. So but he chose another company. I'm like, okay. So then, you just gotta do your homework pertaining to that. Yeah. Breaking everything down, rental costs. If you're renting or if you're actually buying the building, you're leasing, you have to, just kind of look at everything and it made Dreams unique because it was an ice cream business prior, but it was closed for 5 years. So it's like I'm starting over.
Nice.
You know what I mean? The building that's there, but I'm starting over. You know what I mean?
No, that's good.
So I had to, I opened up on 2013 on Memorial Day, and it's another thing learning about business. I'm like, it's Memorial Day, everybody's gonna be out doing their thing. I don't really ain't nobody there. It's people that I'm inviting. Why they ain't there? Because they got the shore.
Exactly.
See what I'm saying? They got the shore. You gotta think about your. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Area, target, right.
Things you don't really think about.
You don't think about it. You say, that's Memorial Day. Everybody's off. You know what I mean? They're doing their thing. So you gotta really think about that. So so those are the things, the tough lessons that I learned. And now once you think about it, it's like, oh, okay. Because even being, like I said, having the career that I had, it's like that taught me different things. It's like, you know what, now I know how business is, because even in the summertime for traditional business, I've been around 20 plus years, pizza shops, it's slow in the summertime. Because everybody's at the shore. You know what I mean?
Everybody's doing their thing.
Yeah, everybody's doing their thing. So it's like, it really, it really educates yourself, and you have to understand, like, okay, well, January and February is going to be slow. Why is that? Because everybody spent money on Christmas and New Year's.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? So now it's starting to get hot again, because now all that's going, now it's tax season. Oh, I got my refund. I'm ready to ball out. I'm ready to spend. You know what I mean? You get more projects, you know what I mean? You got to look at it like that. So, and then it goes into the summertime.
Yeah, it has a cycle.
It has a cycle. Yeah, and then, summertime, you get a certain amount of business, especially for ice cream business, this and that. And then you're like, okay, well, boom, September comes, everybody's back in school, so kids are spending more money on buying ice cream. So it's like, it goes in cycles. You know what I mean? It really does. And then especially in this area. And these are the things that I learned. So definitely, understanding, you want to understand full-fledged business, you want to understand the slow times. You want to understand what you need to do to compete, still stay relevant in particular slow times, and even year by year and day by day. So it's definitely.
So even though you didn't do a business model, you just did research of what your product or service needs, right? Around the demographics, right? So at least that's good. I mean, I think you should try to do a model, even if you don't have to go and get funding. A lot of times, the business model, because you need to go and sell it to someone to give you money for your business. If it's one of those businesses where you don't need the capital up front, and I'm going to talk about my own business as opposed to you or Calvin, because obviously materials involved. I would say for me and Phil jump in here, that we kind of sell our brains, we sell our skill sets, right? There's not a huge cost other than the software that we're using, and probably our time, and if we got to pay someone else, right? At least for me, a lot of it is customers want to get a designer in their house, right? So it's time. I got to go out, I got to talk to them. I have to come back and I have to draw all this and come up with ideas. But other than paper, printer, and software costs, there's not a whole lot of cost for me. I don't know about Phil, like what your costs look like.
I agree with you with that. It's not a lot of overhead for my business. At one time, I did have a physical office where I was there every day. Now I still have an office, but I'm not there every day. But that's another cost. But you really have to kind of decide, are you going to invest in that so you can have the perception that you're a successful standalone business, or is that not important to your customer? You know your customer, so you know who you're trying to target. So along the lines with kind of building your plan, you definitely have to have an idea of who you're selling to. So you have to kind of figure out, I want my demographic to be small businesses between 5 employees and 10 employees, or 5 and 20 employees, or I want homeowners that are in this certain location, for your business, or you might want single ladies, like you said. You might just just want homeowners who are looking to have an addition built and have a budget of so much $1,000 or what have you. So you should definitely have a demographic, so that when you find that potential customer, you can say, is this a good fit or not? As in the beginning, and even sometimes now, I just take whatever I can get. If you want a website, I'll work with you, but it's not always the best to do that. So you kind of have to have in your mind what type of clients you want. How much do you want to invest the time as far as educating them on your service, and the back and forth on, this is the first draft, this is the second draft. Kind of have to have those policies in place. So as you're preparing, policies is important for, like, what are you going to do for a refund? What are you going to do if you make a mistake? If you bring your website down for 3 weeks, how are you going to deal with that? So there's some policies you should definitely consider. You won't know everything until you get into it, but at least have some, and it makes you look better when the customer knows that you have a policy in place. They have something to sign that actually has terms on it.
Absolutely.
And then you have something to stand on if things go sour. You can say, well, you signed. This is what we presented, and this is what we agreed upon. So those things are definitely important.
I just want a quick question. Maybe all you guys can, give me more insight, but you probably have a better insight than me. Now, Kyle spoke about having unique customers and having unique conversations. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have you ever like structured a contract differently around the client based on maybe time frames where they couldn't pay a certain amount of front? Listen, I really want to work with you. You gave me 10,000. You know what I mean? Right. I can only maybe do 2,500 right now. Maybe next month I can give you another 500. Maybe you know what I mean? Or if I'm doing the website, I'm on a full-fledged. You know what I mean? And I want the works, but I just don't have all that. Right? Are you willing to work?
So it's interesting because being 10 years in, sort of to Phil's point, in the beginning, you take whatever you can get. Yep. People come in, I lower my price. Because I wanted to build up a following.
Right.
I would do deals where, sure, I will finance it. Or we would finish the job and the last payment due, and they say, well, I need to make payments on that. Well, I didn't intend for that to happen, but they did that. Now being 10 years in, it's not beneficial to do.
Okay.
Yeah. You stick with what you, because if, like what I tell my clients is that my price is my price. Mm-hmm. If you want it lower, we can do that. Mm-hmm. But you need to figure out what you want to take out the scope. Because I can't give you everything you want for that price. And I can count more than I want to how many times that I've done it. And it's failed. My slogan used to be, I've given away some of the nicest bathrooms and kitchens. But I've now, with maturity in business, it's okay to say no.
Right.
You have to get comfortable. I used to not feel that way. Right. But now I'm like, sorry, I really want to work with you, but we're not, I can't do it for this. Gotcha. And I wish you luck on your project. And I even follow up with clients. They went with something else.
Follow up with something.
Yeah, absolutely.
To see,
I think it's a great thing.
To see how they're doing and try to, and then see if they have problems or if I can help. Because, I don't mind if you had a question about someone else you hired, and I would say, hey, ask them about this, follow up on that. But I think that I tried many times, and it's not the best way. It doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, the client we're working on now that Calvin's familiar with, I'm in the midst of giving him a check back. Like, okay. It's one of those things where you just go, okay, it's not worth the time, right? And sometimes you will have a little bit of leeway for a client that you believe is going to ultimately be beneficial to you in the long run. Yeah. But there are some clients you right up front, you're like, okay, this is not going to be beneficial. Right. This is going to be a bad thing no matter how I look at it. And then I'm more so concerned about the quality of service that I'll be able to provide that customer, right? So if you lower the price so much, you can't provide the service. Now, what if that person has another customer who really does want to use your service, and now he's going to give you a bad rap because you've dumbed down your service so low just for this customer. That's a great point. So part of it is like you don't want to do that because now it messes up your own brand, right? And we've got to all get to the point of, and I'm not as mature as you guys are in your businesses, but I'm also very conscious of my own time and conscious of what I think quality work looks like. So if I can't provide it, then we can't do business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's somewhat principle based, but you got to do it on based off your business and based off your own businesses and your own principles, right? But I wouldn't do it to a certain extent. It just seems like it takes down the quality and it takes your time.
And because people do talk.
Absolutely.
Calvin gave me a bang bathroom.
Yeah, think about it.
It was $10,000, but he only did it for $6,000.
Oh,
he probably gonna do it for me the same way.
We started talking about that early on one of our original topics. Even before we start recording, right? Having customers that always wonder, like, oh, what can I get for 50 cents? You can get a ride home, go. You just can't. Sometimes you just gotta be like, okay, well, you're a good person to talk to, but we're not going to do business.
Right. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I got a question, you guys. I don't know if this is off the cuff. So, what about celebrity clients? Have you ever had someone who's very popular, big following? I've had it happen probably 5-6 times in the past couple of years, where they're really popular, so they feel they don't have to pay for whatever it is because they're so popular. Once you do work for them, it's going to pour in. Because they're so popular.
Right. So it's interesting. I haven't had too many celebrity clients, but what I have is we get a lot of work. Meaning, I'm talking about that. We're going to buy a bunch of properties. Okay. You do this job for me, I promise you there'll be more.
Exactly,
yeah, it never happens. So from my standpoint, you just kind of lump them all together. Mm-hmm. My price is my price. Mm-hmm. It is what if you want to go with me.
Yep. LeBron James.
Right. Exactly. And I'll be honest. Like I tell people, my price is the same in North Philly as it is in the main line.
Right.
You know, you may want different aspects. You may want a higher quality granite than you may want in another area. But my labor costs and my insurance is all the same.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things is it's making that transition. When you're first starting out, you are you're desperate for whatever you can get. Mm-hmm. You know, I joke with Maylene and Kevin because I'm probably their number one client, mm-hmm. right? But all the pain and suffering I did, they don't deal with as much. Mm-hmm. So they're fortunate enough. They're fortunate enough that where I'm like, take the money, take the check. Mm-hmm. They can be, nah, I ain't doing it. And I'm like, shh, I gotta keep my lights on.
Exactly.
But the other thing is I respect it because I've done it, and it doesn't work because at the end it hurts your brand somewhat because you're trying to get the job done for nothing, and you're trying to make it work.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Now, let me just jump in here. Not to say that we've done pro bono work. We've done things for free. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to get
game,
yes, that's what I'm saying. So for all the folks out there, we're talking about turning down money or giving it back. That's not how necessarily how to run a business, right? You will be out of business soon if you turn down all your clients. But we've also done work for free because we needed to build up our portfolio, right? If you think about design service and more interior design as well, you need to be able to put your portfolio out there. So you need to start with people sometimes that will just let you do it, right? And once you do it, then you can put your stuff out there and say, okay, here's what I've done. What do you think? Sometimes you start for free before you get paid. But once you start doing that, you do build up a brand, right? So people expect a certain amount of services for what you're doing. So it's not to say we haven't done for free and we were stretching things, but now you get to a point where you're not doing it for free anymore. You just have to keep your brand up.
That's a great point because I've done events, breast cancer, different things dealing with kids. And, and it's free, and it's like, you know what? I mean, I'm about the cause.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm about community. So you know, and if it got to be me, and I ain't got to pay nobody for my workers, I do it. Right. You know what I mean? But I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? So they see it. I'm scooping it up. You know what I mean?
No, that's good.
It's a must. It's part of it.
Yeah. It's part of the business, right? It's part of the and it's for the social causes that you believe in.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
that's the main.
Part of the business, and seeing our intro is giving back and educating, right? It's like so. I always joke with my kids like, you guys wish you had a dad. I wish I had a dad that was like you. Yeah. Right, because you're constantly saying, okay, here's what you should do, here's what you shouldn't do, and not that you're telling them what to do, you're trying to give them information so they can make better decisions. Right. If you look at business in general, or I would just say America in general, right? Capitalism, King capitalism. Right. It's all off information, right? You've got to be able to say, okay, this is a good decision or it's a bad decision, and why, right? So part of what we're doing here is exactly that, right? So I wish people could mentor us. And we do have all mentors. But it's good to get this information out there so you can make a fundamentally better decision than what you would have made.
Absolutely.
So, that's kind of my thing. Just to go back a little bit, though. So, like Lamar, and maybe Kyle, you should jump in here, too, since you're the other company with the most materials and things that need to be bought. Like, me and Phil a little bit less. I'm probably the least, and Phil, and then Lamar, you've got ice cream, you've got your products. But, Lamar, Kyle, you run a construction company, so you have a lot of overhead. Right. How do you manage how much you manage your business?
Well, one of the things, I go back to the corporate job. I worked in supply chain. I did a wide variety of things. When I started my construction company, I looked at what my costs, my overhead. I have insurance, I have materials, I have payroll, I have, you name it, I have it. I didn't have an office initially, but what I knew I had to do was be able to I wanted to put a high quality product on the market. Okay. I wanted to make sure that our slogan is building the best. So I wanted to make sure we built the best relationships, the best products, the best whatever, had the best workers. What I did was, there's no benefit for me to go to a super store. And when I say super store, I mean like a Home Depot or Lowe's. There's no one I know there. I mean, you see the same cashiers. I built relationships with other small businesses that were lumber yards, plumbing supply, everything that we needed so that I could call or email.
Sure.
I have relationships where I can call, like my plumbing supply. They close at 4. They leave the materials in the yard. I have the code to the fence.
Wow.
I can grab them. If I need stuff on the weekend, they'll open up. It's building. It goes back to relationships and people skills. And then you have to know the value of your dollar. So I buy a lot of material. Think about if I do 1.6 million in sales a year, a large portion of that is material, right? So just like I know how much I spend, the vendors know how much I spend.
Right.
So it gives me negotiating power. You know, you may not know this. I learned this from working in corporate America at my supply chain job. There's different tiers as customers. So I knew when I first came in, I was at this tier because I had no proven history. Now I'm at one of the higher tiers where they'll say to me, well, Calvin, look, we don't want to lose this sale. How do we make it work?
Right.
And we'll get, you know, because they have space. So it's about the relationship. Those were the things like when I went to start my business, like you guys talked about a lot of great stuff like market research, all that. I did some of that in focus groups. But what I spent a lot of time was I was working out of my house and I had a full-time job. But what happened was I found a group of guys who didn't have the business acumen, but they had the skill. And they were like, Calvin, if you help us, and we came together as a team. But I set us up as a corporation, meaning we got a legal structure, we got a website, because if you're going to do this, do it. You know, one of the things that I feel hurts people is you start a business and you use a Gmail email or any of those. I mean, I get it, it's free. But when I look at a business card, not to judge, but you still judge. Because I see, you know, whatever Gmail, I'm like, so you don't believe in this, but you want me to buy into it. Now, the other side to that is, you know, based on my background, we had, Kevin and I were in grad school, we took entrepreneurship. The teacher laid that foundation. Prior to that, I mean, I didn't know how to structure a business. I didn't know legal structures. But it's these things that you do, getting your legal structure. The hardest thing about starting a business, to be quite honest, besides writing a business plan, is coming up with the right name. Then when you find that name, you need to search, see if the website's available. Because once again, I mean, I know it's a bias, but .com looks a lot better than .net. So, you know, you get the .com, you get your business cards, and you go. No one has to know that you're working out of your bedroom.
Exactly.
But, you know, you put the image across that you want to display. You know, one of the things I did when I started, it cost me a lot, but the most important relationship I had was a lawyer. And I got a lawyer. I had a party business, and we incorporated. Like, we're promoting parties, and I had a full legal structure in place because I wanted to do taxes, I wanted to do everything. I got an accountant, and I got a lawyer. So those are kind of the key things that, like, I looked at when starting. And every business I start, I buy the domain name first. And then I kind of go from there.